everyone for hopping on. End of the year. So we are going to talk today a little bit about wins, ending the year strong, and then going into and planning, being intentional about winning, investing in yourself in 2024. Obviously, one of the biggest things you should do for yourself in 2024 and making an investment in yourself is to go to SalesBoost.
Thanks for that reminder.
All of us will be there, and we want all of you there as well. We are officially today, well, maybe not with the 31s in there, but it's 3 months from today. So SalesBoost is March 20th through the 23rd, where it's December 20th, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we are 3 months out, 90 days from the event of the year. So on your list when you're making your goals for 2024, make sure you're investing in yourself and putting yourself in environments that you will be around amazing people to make you win. So you should get signed up today. Right, everybody?
Agreed.
Yes. Dan, what is the beer mug supposed to represent in the letter of?
It's a letter B. It's kind of hard to see in the smallness
Got it.
of it.
Best. Okay. I guess I could have guessed what the best. Damn. Okay.
I know. Isn't his logo cool? Best damn.
Could be anything that ends in EST. Anything. I'm really not that particular. Whatever you guys want.
Oh, I love it. I feel like I mean, every time I see your background, this is a cool background, but it's actually a live background. This is actually what.
Yeah, this is behind me. Why did you say that? Like this isn't actually what's behind me.
Yeah, pick up one of those beers. Open it.
I'm not drinking alcohol until December 23rd. So
darn it. That's right. Okay, so before we kick off with whoever wants to talk about winning, how we're finishing off, how we're starting the new year off, it's also another special day, December 20th. Pat's birthday.
Oh, dang.
Happy birthday.
Pat. Wait, I can't hear Pat. Pat said something, but I can't hear him. Did you guys hear him?
Still on mute.
For his birthday, he turned into a mime. It's super cool. No, nothing.
Oh, still can't hear you.
I was going to ask him. Actually, this is fun because I can ask him stuff, but I don't have to listen to his response. I really want to make a joke about how my communication in my marriage works because it's probably pretty similar. I ask questions and then forget to listen to the answer. I think my wife would agree with that. But I'm serious. I'm a terrible listener. But I was going to ask Pat if he's at the age where it's like for a while as you're growing up, you're like, sweet, my birthday. And then there's like some tipping point where you're like, shit, it's my birthday. You know, like I got that much older. So I don't know. I'm curious if he's there.
I have not reached that tipping point. I mean, I don't want to be any older, but I still want it to be my birthday.
Okay. I'm the opposite. I could care less about my birthday. Like, I don't know when it's coming. Other people have to tell me, like, hey, Dan, it's your birthday. And I'm just like, another one? Like, I planned on staying this age forever. I was doing good at this age.
Dan, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I kind of avoid it. It's like,
where did you come from? You weren't here.
He was in the background.
How did you do that?
I was just doing some Christmas magic over here, and I got all excited.
Libby just talked, and I can't hear Libby either.
Oh.
I hear her.
Oh, now I heard you.
I hear Libby. You missed Dan's been telling some pretty. Did you hear Dan's commentary on?
Yeah, I've been listening. He's got his bar peanuts, and let's get Pat back on.
I just got done working out, and I was like, I need some food.
I love your awareness, Dan. Though the awareness today, you're like, yeah, this is a lot like the communication in my marriage. I ask questions with no desire for the answer.
Yeah, I'm just trying to I'm just doing the first step of being a good husband. And then 10 seconds later, I'm just looking at my phone, being an asshole. So.
Pat, can we hear you yet?
I hope so.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
You sound so wise.
It's that gray hair, man. I just turned 38.
Mm-hmm, I'm in there.
Okay, so birthday. Tell us what you're doing to celebrate.
Yeah, so celebrating with the GAPS diet. So that was boiled chicken. Yep. For breakfast.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
What diet is this?
It's called the GAPS diet.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll have to research that. But anyway,
Like is the Gap food that tastes good?
Yeah. The Gap is any food.
I wish. It's like literally bone broth. That's all you eat is bone
It's
broth.
good for your gut healing.
Yes. Yep. So that's what
all you got to do is just drink a pile of Busch Lights. That's good for your gut. Same thing.
He's growing it out.
Yeah. More gut.
That's right. Exactly. Good. That's the prosperity muscle, though. I mean, if you in reality, got to grow it. But no, just gonna eat. Eating healthy and no bread. All that fun stuff. Not drinking. Yeah. Should be good.
Do you have a year-end goal with that or New Year goal that spawned?
Yeah, so we have to do it for a whole year. So we're gonna get the whole family on it. So it's gonna be a long thing. But I wouldn't not like a year-end goal, but just eating real clean is the goal there. And then I do want to drop down to like 175 is my weight goal. I'm at like 195 right now.
Awesome. But doing the health plan as a whole family, just to like heal yourselves inside out, heal the gut.
It's also way easier to stay on something like that when everybody around you isn't eating shit.
Yeah.
So I have not had bread or carbs or sugar in 2 years.
Oh,
that's amazing.
And it was the best thing I ever did. It was hard, but it sucks when your kids like order pizza or your husband like eats a bowl of ice cream and he sits next to you on the couch. And like, I'll just get up and walk away. I'm like, you suck. And at first it was hard, and now it's easy. So
you too.
So much easier when everyone is doing it. When my kids were diagnosed with autoimmune diseases, we all did a version of that GAPS plan, Kat. And when everyone's doing it and there's absolutely nothing in the house that you can't have, it's not as hard. There's just nothing, no one around you, and there's nothing in the house except things that you can eat, and it's much easier.
Yeah. I have my own shelf on the pantry. Nobody eats any of it because I don't like none of it.
That's why I buy a bunch of spicy shit, because nobody else in the family is going to eat really spicy stuff. So it's like, oh, I want to have like something for me. I better make it really spicy. Then I don't have to worry about anybody else touching it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, that health, we kicked off with health, which taking care of yourself and feeling good and having energy is really the source for everything else we're achieving, right? So good job, Pat. It sounds like it's not just a short-term goal. You have committed and called your shot for the whole year.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize we were actually live.
Oh yeah, we live.
We here.
We're doing it.
Okay. Anyone who wants to go next, or you have anything else, Pat? We just talked about your birthday, and then that turned into a health goal. But what would you like?
Yeah.
Finishing the year strong, starting off the year strong.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Like, there's so much opportunity. So next year is like really, really exciting. We're finishing up the remodel at the house, and then there's big things I'm going to be announcing in January. Can't announce it yet, but just working. We've been working strategically all this year, pretty hard. So I'm super pumped about next year and what we're going to do.
Ooh.
I'm pumped to hear about next year and what you're going to do.
Yeah.
The anticipation's killing me.
I know, it's been building. I wish I could let everybody know, but not yet. All in due time.
Just text it to me, Pat.
Yeah.
I won't tell anybody.
We're like, okay,
You're gonna be, you guys are
but-
going to be the first.
Your secret's safe with Dan.
Yeah, because remember, I asked you a question and then I stopped listening immediately. So I won't even hear what you say. Fine.
Oh, I love it. Well, Dan, we'll let you go next. You got any super secrets that you can only tell us and no one else that's listening?
Yeah, that's
About
me.
wins,
I'm a hard nut to crack. No, I do. I mean, I've been having a ton of meetings lately, and I think it's, I don't think I could have enough of them, but people recapping all their numbers for the year, making sure their P&L is straight, and quite already 2 today where we're working on their budget for next year, which is a good way to like start putting a plan together, but also to like pat yourself on the back for the things you did the last year, right? Because we're always so worried about problem solving, and there's no shortage of issues in front of us. We rarely give ourselves the time to be like, look at what I did. We accomplished this and we did that and we made this investment and here's what's working. So I think now is just a really good time, and I'm biased. I'm a bookkeeping nerd, but now is just such a good time to think about your numbers, review everything from the last year. Yeah, there's going to be some things you did terribly that you'll never do again, which chalk that up for a good lesson learned. And there's going to be stuff that you got right and you're like, let's do more of that or double down or just keep doing the same thing. So I think looking back at the last year right now it's the time to count your chips, and don't be afraid to, pat yourself on the back a little bit. If anybody heard my radio show the last couple weeks, I went off on all the things I dislike about social media. One of the things I hate about social media is when somebody answers a question that nobody asked and they're like, here's a picture of all my trucks and all my sweet stuff, blah, blah, blah. Or like, I did this much in revenue. And I'm just like, well, talk about your profit or something. So you don't need to tell all of us, like tell your team, tell your spouse, whatever, but like be proud of yourself. You don't need to get your pride from everybody else. Get your pride from you. But I think it's a great time to tally everything up. And then start working on the budget for next year. Like, don't end there. Start working on the numbers for next year and what you're going to do more of, less of, differently, all that stuff. Numbers.
From the king of numbers.
I bet you were really good at number munchers when you were a kid, Dan.
Which one was that? Is that the one where like
you're too young for that? Never mind. Libby and Angela will get it.
I'm older than Pat.
Wait a minute.
I'm older than Pat by like a little
old in the group.
Yeah, I'm like I
remember it. I used to love that game.
Oh, Dan, you brought up such a great point. Numbers, yes, we should all actually be looking at our numbers at the end of the year, take a look at them for some awareness and plan a budget. But you also said taking a moment to pat yourself on the back of what you accomplished this year. And so often right now, we're looking at those numbers, or we're looking at the goal board, and we're hard on ourselves of the things that we didn't miss. Or that we did miss, the things that we didn't accomplish or wanted to get done, or maybe that P&L doesn't look like what we thought it would look like at the beginning of the year. But we just talked about on my show of like, make sure you are taking a moment and pausing and celebrating those wins, not only with yourself, but with your team, like writing all of them down. Like, how about you take that goal poster out, and you may not have hit some of the ones that you put down, but what are all the other wins that you did create this year, the other things that happened in your life and in your business and lives that you impacted, and like all of the things that happened. Just taking a moment, like you said, to pat yourself on the back, to pat your team on the back, and really write each and every win and celebration that happened through the year. That's not just for the feel good feeling, but then like you said, Dan, it gives you a chance to say, hey, these were things that we did really well. We didn't plan on doing them really well, but maybe we should pour some more gas on the fire on that next year. Or this was just a fun little win and it made me feel good, so I'm going to do more of that next year as well. But without pausing to reflect on those things, it doesn't give us the chance to really soak in the celebration that we deserve and reflect on how we can create more of it next year.
But Angela, maybe they're not even wins, but maybe they're roads that we made. Maybe they're roads that we didn't know we were going to take, relationships that we didn't expect to make or build. So just taking that moment to reflect that you didn't think this happened, that you didn't have that in the plan to happen, new relationships, new opportunities. that you took that weren't in the plan.
Yeah, that's a great point, Libby. And that obviously certainly describes my year from where I set out in the beginning. And, but so many, new relationships and new opportunities. And those are celebrations. That's such
You got a new relationship this year?
Really? Where, like, tell us about it. We don't know.
No one's seen it.
Lucky.
No clue what you're talking about.
new relationships. All right.
Yeah.
The only one on this call that I knew, I met Dan at the end of last year. So all of you are new in 2023. And I live somewhere new. Okay, Libby, we're going with
you. Pat yourself on the back for that one, Angela.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, what's up, Ryan Fox? What's going on, man?
Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks.
We're talking about, I just called on Libby, so she's going to go next. You can go after that. We're talking about wins and plans for the next year. If there's
Awesome.
secret plans like Pat, then you can let us know they're secret.
Then you just get to tease us.
So, I think that Dan had a great point with wins. Whether, we make these giant goals and sometimes we hit them and sometimes we don't. Honestly, like I didn't hit my goal, but something happened that I never thought was going to happen within the company that was a great opportunity. So like for us, that's a win. And, it's not a revenue number, but it's an opportunity and an opportunity to grow in another direction. So what I always do during this time for reflecting and like setting goals is we do 5-quarter strategic planning, which everyone does 4 quarters. And we do 5 quarters because everyone tends to be like, oh, the new year comes and they're like, crap, we got to go plan for the next year. So we do 5 quarters. So it rolls into
Good idea.
I'm smart,
That's
Dan.
so simple, but it's so brilliant.
We do 5 quarters at a time so that we're not like in this mess with everybody else trying to plan. And it rolls into Q2. We already have Q1 planned. And I call this time right now is like the season of separation. We are already planning, even though our Q1 is planned, we're planning now for next year. And it's going to roll into Q2. Mm-hmm. And so we call this the season of separation, where a lot of business owners get distracted with the holidays and, parties and vacation. And it's the people who put their head down and continue the planning and preparing and staying focused who will really come out in 2024 with a plan. And if you feel discouraged or you don't have the capacity to plan, that's fine. And that's why we plan to do 5-quarter strategic planning. Because if I don't have that capacity, like it's okay because we're already planned into next year because we do 5 quarters at a time. Because sometimes the end of the year can be a little overwhelming with budgeting and all the things that we have going on with holidays, especially if you have kids. Like I see Pat in the car with kids. I got a house full of kids.
You talking about my roommates?
Like my son plays basketball. It's basketball season. We got a game every night of the week right now. So like this is a really busy time of the year, no matter if you're a business owner or a parent. So it can get overwhelming with the planning and did we hit our goals? What are our goals? So I love the 5-quarter strategic planning and rolling that out. So if you need to give yourself a little bit of grace, you have buffer time. But I do call this the season of separation. Those who put their heads down, keep planning and working, come out on top next year in 2024 versus getting distracted with those holiday parties, shopping, games, vacation. Really will separate us from the others.
That's such a great point, Libby. And not only distracted by the holiday, all the things going on with the holiday, but I think a lot of times as people are in a slowdown right now, right? Maybe came off of light season or something busy or in a breath season. And it's easy to just say, oh, I deserve a break. I deserve this lull time and slower time. And yes, we deserve to spend some time with the families. But like you said, what separates is if you're completely turning off and checked out and are behind the 8 ball when the new year starts, or you make time for both. You make time to restore, relax, rejuvenate with your family, and set yourself apart for the new year.
Yeah, I try to make sure I have those things in place. So in case that does happen, that I got a cushion.
Yeah. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Ryan, what you got for us?
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Let me get on. We actually just finished. We had our debrief for my leadership team this morning for 5 hours for the lighting season. So we went over the highs, the lows, what we struggled on, what was really good, what wasn't good. We missed our mark on our goal. We had a lot of issues in our office, and so that came to head. We did hire a new ops manager from Chick-fil-A, and he killed it. And our culture and our leadership was phenomenal this year, the best that's ever been. All the feedback we got from all the employees and stuff was that the company really cares about their employees and they care about their clients, and customer service is number one. So all that's really good, but we had some shortcomings in our office. So that's getting addressed, and
On
that
the
was
plus
mostly
side,
what our
though,
meeting was about.
I mean, like, I feel like the office, you can find replacements for that. It's super hard to find an ops manager that can like execute operationally and also be great for the culture. That is impossible to find. So that's a good.
Well, I went and stole him from Chick-fil-A. He actually was working at Chick-fil-A. So
that was awesome.
That's why I went and got him. I met him and I'd seen how he interacted there at Chick-fil-A and how he treated his employees and how he was willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. I was like, that's the kind of person we need for us. So that's a huge win for us. We definitely grew. We didn't hit our big goal, but there's a lot of wins within there. And I always tell everybody though, like, we set our goals so big that at the end of the season, if we don't hit it, I'm not like, oh my gosh, we failed. But I look back and I say, okay, this is where we failed. This is where we failed in this one area, or this is where our shortcomings were, and how can we realign so that doesn't happen again? Because that's where we grow as a company and we grow as individuals. Is if we keep allowing the same mistakes to happen, then that's just being insane, right? Like, it's at the end of the day. So that's where we grow. So I think that was like the biggest win for us is, like, this year operations grew really well. Now we need to level up the office. So you get them. And I hired an amazing salesperson and he freaking killed it. He started in October and he was selling like $3, $4, $5, $6, $10,000 Christmas light jobs, like, left and right. So he killed it. So that's awesome because that was a weight off my shoulders for that too. So that was a big win.
Booyah.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Awesome.
People in the right places and people that you need to shift.
Yeah. Well, that is 100%. That's one of we're talking about. Yeah.
Ryan, with holiday lights, what do you do with those people, with like that ops manager, with that salesperson? Where do they go come springtime? What are their focuses?
We're going really hard into landscape lighting right now. So we're pushing the gas on that. So that's where we're going to pivot into that. So they'll be handling all that kind of stuff. So
cool.
Yeah, we're actually, all 4 of us are going to Ryan Lee's landscape lighting training in 1st February.
Oh, so dang it.
Paid for all that. So
I don't think I'm going to be there, but maybe I will now. Are you buying? Okay.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're back for the 14th, Dan. That's all I care about.
We'll be ready. Ryan never texted me back. I texted him. He just never even texted me back.
I was probably busy.
He ghosted
What was
me.
it, for the fishing?
Yep, he ghosted me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Actually, I know when you texted me, I was on a big job that we had, and I was on a lift for like 8 days because one of our crew leaders, his fiance broke her ankle, and so he was out of work for a while, and so I had to jump in a lift and finish the job so we could get it done in time.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah. Do you know
if anybody's listening? Yeah, if anybody's listening right now, go ahead and drop your goals. Celebrate some wins with us. We want to hear them, and not to cut you guys off, but like a common thing that I heard amongst myself, Ryan, Libby, we didn't hit our goals, and it sucks saying that. It really does. It's not something you want get to the end of the year and say we fell short. But, like Angela's saying, we got to celebrate the wins and celebrate the success. And everybody's still here. Everybody's charging forward. We're all looking forward towards 2024, despite the lack of making our goal. But it wasn't short of us not trying. I mean, there's a lot of things that happened this year and a lot of things were outside of our control, but it's a learning point, and it's a learning point to share. And I don't like I did a post today about feeling like a failure yesterday, and I don't want to hold that back from other people who might be feeling the same thing and be like, I'm alone. Like, only I failed this year. Only I didn't miss my goal. So I think it's important that we don't just talk about, yay, we hit our goals. That's great. Let's talk about the goals we didn't hit and how we could have done better, because there's a good chance that's going to help somebody else who's maybe at that stage or working to get to that stage, and they're going to be able to benefit from that. So as much as it might sound bad talking about the bad and the failures, it's really a great thing to be able to discuss and bring up with others, because again, they might be going through that same thing or have that same experience, to be able to shed light on that with you.
I mean,
I was going to say one.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. One thing I think is I see a lot of people when we're coaching and talking to people, JC, you can probably second this, is a lot of people don't put big enough goals. So they're really easily attainable. So then they get really used to hitting their goals all the time. And then when somebody pushes them to put a really lofty goal, then they feel like they're a failure because that goal was really, really far out. So if your goal was to grow $100,000 this year, and that's like your big goal, but your original goal was like 25, and say you hit 80, well, you just went $60,000 past your original goal, but you didn't hit your big hairy audacious goal, but you still did way more. So that's where I think people look at it as a failure when it's really not a failure. You just put that crazy, huge, lofty goal, and if you hit it, awesome. But if not, you just look what you did. So I think that's, we set our goals so high that like it's, it like almost, it's like unattainable in a sense, but like you want to push towards them, and if you hit it, awesome. It's amazing.
Let me elaborate on that, because I run into this with budgeting a whole lot with people, which is they're like, oh, I want to shoot for this revenue. So I always ask them, is that your budget or is that your goal? And they're like, well, what's the difference? I'm like, if you're golfing, you want to hit the ball in the hole, right? Well, if you're on like a par 3 and the pin is 5 feet off the edge of the green and there's water right there, are you going to like try to hit it in the hole, or are you going to hit it to the right side of the green so you have a decent birdie putt, right? Your goal is to get the ball in the hole. Your budget is where's the most predictable, what's realistic, what's going to happen. If everything goes right, that's your goal. Sometimes it's all going to go right and you're going to try to push to make it go right, but your budget and your goal are two different things. Your goal is usually just a revenue number, maybe just a profit number. Your budget is everything, right? And so I think it's okay to exactly what you said, Ryan, which is like your budget is here's if we do okay. If we, met expectations of a small growing business. But yeah, I want that, right? And I know there's a 10% chance of me hitting it, but this is what I'm shooting for. That's your goal. And I think it's okay to have both. I wouldn't budget that number, right? I'd build a business plan based on we're going to have some headwinds. We're going to have some things go wrong. Yeah. We're running a small business, that's expected. But here's my goal of what I want to shoot for. And here's what I think I need to do to make it happen. And not that it's two different versions of the truth, but I see people get conflicted between the two things. And like you said, Ryan, almost get demoralized because they didn't hit their big goal. And they forget that they should have probably had a budget about what normal growing expectations would have been. So I think it's okay to have a little bit of both.
I think so too. Before we dive more into that, Pat's got to run. So a big happy birthday farewell to Pat.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Pat.
See you, birthday boy.
Thanks for being on here with us.
Now he's back. We can't hear him again. He's doing the mime thing. He's back in mime mode.
And we're all waiting on the seat of our chairs for the announcement.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It is nice he had to leave though, so now we all fill up the screen so much better. I feel like I could hardly see you guys before.
I think this is a great topic. I always set really lofty goals because I have really unrealistic expectations of myself. But very rarely do we hit them. But so I didn't hit my goals because, we had in both my companies, we've had some unforeseen interruptions. One was, we got hit by Hurricane Ian and with my cleaning company in Fort Myers, which just demolished us in October of last year. I mean, that has been a pure struggle trying to regrow that. But in my other business, we had a breaking up of a partnership, which you would never expect to happen. And someone told me, every business ends in ending of a partnership. It's either you break up, you die, or you sell. So 100% of partnerships end in business, where 50% of marriages end or 50% of marriages end, 100% of partnerships end in business. And they said it was because you die, you sell, or you break up. And it was an interesting theory, but it was really hard for me at a certain time because I got left with a SaaS business by myself and had no, I struggled for a little bit because I felt like I had no clue what am I doing? Like a little bit of imposter syndrome hit in to say, like, can I grow this by myself? Like, it was this massive machine. We were growing at 133% a year over year, and it was only 2.5 years old. And it's like, one, and that we slowed down a little bit because I had to slow it down. Or
well, yeah, you get distracted from the thing that grows the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're worrying about different stuff every day.
Yeah. And it's like meeting after meeting of like, of selling, and we're buying, and, and it's like, and it did distract us. But at the end of the day, it was the best thing that happened for everybody. And it was the best thing, and it was a great end, and we're still very good friends, me and Paul. And it was a great partnership, and it ended well, but it was a distraction. And so we didn't hit our goal. But it was a great learning moment. Every learning moment in our business comes with a great expense. A great expense.
If we want to do the optimistic thing, we'll call it an investment.
There you go.
There we go. We pay for those lessons, just like education.
Yeah.
But you brought up a good point, Libby, too. And in both times when you said in the opportunities and stuff too, a lot of times we set that big lofty goal and we're achievers and want to achieve it. And we have a plan in place for it, right? Like, here's the goal and I worked it backwards, and here is my plan for reaching that goal. And a lot of times, we do anything we can to beat that plan into existence because we are all in, going to reach the goal. But there has to be a difference. And you learn, I think this is maturity in business, in that you don't take your eyes off the goal and you're still 100% committed to whatever that goal is. But you have to have a lot more flexibility in letting go of how you're going to get there and what that's going to look like. Because otherwise, something like that partnership dissolving, big things that happen, that get in the way, life things in business, derail your plan, and it can completely derail you and your belief in getting to the goal if you're not loose with the plan, right? Like tightly committed to the goal, but loose with how you're going to get there.
Yep. 100%.
Of what that's going to look like. And I think that's where a lot of people end up in disillusionment, or how they don't reach their goals, is if, something went wrong along the way. How quickly were you able to pivot?
Well, I think that we think that it's either like we give up, or why does this happen to me, instead of, right? And so we give up instead of saying, oh, this is a learning moment. Like, what am I going to learn from this? Or how can I be better and take this and come out even stronger?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the words that you use, but it reminded me of a conversation that we just had of that you can take it as, defeated, and you can start telling yourself, it's easy to get in the spiral of what story are you telling yourself, and start telling yourself the story of victim mode. And like, poor me, all these things happened to me, like this client, this person, this team member. We get in the overwhelm of all those things that happen and start telling ourselves this victim martyr story of woe is me. all these people, all these things that did me wrong. And it changes the trajectory, and it completely changes the vibration, because once we start down that spiral of the story we're telling ourselves in our head, it changes everything. And changes how not only changes that we're not getting to the goal, but it changes our vibration and the way everybody else is reacting to us. So now we're in big trouble.
If there's a spot where I see that the most, and my guess would be Libby's seen this a time or two as well. In our recruiting business, when you run into a business owner that's like, nobody wants to work anymore, nobody's going to show up, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, you're lost, man. Like, clearly there's
nobody wants to work for you.
Yeah. Like, clearly there's plenty of businesses out there that have plenty of employees that are crushing it. Like, let me go find you a mirror. I have the solution to your problem, and I don't think you're going to fucking like it. It's just so funny, because it's like, well, I don't know what to do for you. Like, until you
let me refer them to Dan and Sean. Hold on, let me get their number real fast.
Yeah, I got an idea. I know somebody that can help.
Well, it's funny, Dan, because when I talk to people and I'm coaching them and they say, "Oh, I've used Blue Skies, they couldn't find or hire like chill now." They're like, they didn't find us anybody. I'm like, "Oh, they didn't find you anybody." I'm like, "That's funny. I use them, and we hired 20 people this year, seasonal people." And they're like, "How?" I'm like, "Because people want to work for us. People don't want to work for you. It's you. It's not the company. They got you the people. The people didn't want to work for you, or you didn't want to hire them because you found a problem in all of them. So."
It's kind of like when you get customers that call for our services, like for my service business. They're like, "Oh yeah, we've had cleaning companies in the past and they were horrible. We didn't like them. They stole or they broke everything." And we're kind of like, "Oh, red flag." Like,
Yep.
because we're like, "Ooh, or are you just do you have unrealistic expectations of a service?"
Yep.
I see that.
Ma'am, I promise you, we're going to break something. If we're cleaning your house, eventually we're going to break something. If that's a deal breaker, you should probably clean your own house, and you should break your shit.
It's a true story.
Or we're going to miss something. There's no way. Like, there's no way we're going to get every single thing. Like, just, yeah.
The lady
If
that
they already
cleans
have
our
that
house,
filter.
yeah. The lady cleans our house. She broke like a perfume bottle of my wife's, and she told my wife, and my wife's like, "It's okay." And then the next time she came to clean, she had a whole brand new bottle. She went and bought it for us. My wife's like, "I really didn't even care about that perfume. It was so old." And the lady's like, No, I had to replace it. And I was like, and that's why we use them. I'm like, that right there, the customer service level, like.
It's not about what happens. It's about how you respond.
Exactly.
I'm still laughing at your response, though. Maybe you should clean your own house and break your own shit.
Yeah.
Well, if a customer starts off with that sentence, it's a red flag, because it's the same thing with recruiting. If they start off with like, "Oh, there's no people out there, nobody wants to work," it's like red flag.
Yep. Like, I could probably help you, but I don't know if it's worth my time and effort and the pain in the ass that this is going to be.
How much are you willing to pay?
I don't think you're going to like it. What's that?
How much are you willing to pay?
Yeah, right. Yeah, custom invoice amount here.
Well, you guys have had some great stories about, things that you're doing right now, very intentional, obviously, of, how you're going through the year. Ryan, I love that you already, did that big meeting with your leadership team and took time, again, to pause and go through things, go through the good, the bad. What do we want to do more of? What do we want to do less of? And doing that reflection. Anything else that you guys want to share before we sign off, of what people should be doing in reflection, what they should be doing to set themselves up for next year, besides registering for SalesBoost?
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to say, add in your goals for 2024 to come to SalesBoost to see Libby talk on creating playbooks for your business. So I want to teach you guys on how to create some awesome playbooks, and I'm going to help you guys and give you the best prompts to use in ChatGPT to create custom sales playbooks for your business.
Sweet.
She's good. It's good. You're going to leave with stuff done. It's crazy.
Go ahead, Ryan. You go.
Okay. I was just going to say, for me, is I think everybody just needs to be really intentional and purposeful on what you're doing this year. And we all know what we need to do a lot of times, but we let the business control us, and we don't sit down and say, okay, I need to hire an ops manager. I need to get that SOP built out. I need to get this. I need to get the KPIs. I need to do all this. And then all of a sudden, one day they wake up and they're like, I need an ops manager tomorrow. Now they're trying to scramble and, play catch up and this and that. So I'm just using that as an example, but we need to be really intentional about what you're doing and where you're headed, because that's the only way you're going to hit those lofty goals. So work backwards and say, if this is my goal, what do I need to do that? Maybe it's an ops manager. Maybe it's a middle manager. Maybe you're not quite ready for an ops manager, or maybe it's a salesperson that you're hiring. Whatever it is, you need to go ahead and get that stuff done and start working on the processes. So then when it's ready to pull that trigger, you have all that in line, and then you can reach out to Dan and be like, hey, Dan, we need to hire somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I would say, and I think, again, Libby's probably going to be really well aligned with this, which is, yeah, sales boost, super important. That's where your growth is going to come. But you can't grow your business if your team sucks, right? If you have shitty employees, I don't care how good you are at sales and marketing, it ain't going to happen, because nobody's going to sign up for that. So it all starts with having the best employees in the world. If you have a really good team, sales and marketing gets really effing easy. So the number one investment you should make is in having the best team possible. That enables you to spend your marketing budget, right? If your team sucks, it's really hard to spend your marketing budget and be like, yeah, I want to send more work out to these guys that screw everything up when I send them out, right? So like, invest in the team, invest in your recruiting. I see people spend so much on marketing and so little on recruiting, it makes me sick. Like,
nauseous,
don't
nauseating
spend on marketing if you're not investing in your recruiting. So get your recruiting right, and January is the best time to do it. Every month that goes by after the turn of the year gets a little bit worse. If you even if you don't need people till March, start running at, like, the first week of January is a dead house because everybody's kind of hungover or whatever. But the second and third week of January is the biggest labor pool of the year, with the smallest demand from other people recruiting. And as you get farther along in the year, more other people are hiring and less people are available. So start early, build your list, get after it. Don't underinvest in recruiting. Doug Brown checking in says, yo, what's this 3 p.m. live stuff? Doug, Merry Christmas, man. We got like 5 more shows to do today, I think. So stay tuned, Doug.
There is more shows today. You have 2 more shows today.
I got 2 shows to do yet today.
Let's sandwich this one in between. Yes. Hey, good advice. Anyone else? Last minute year end things. Year end, start the year off. I didn't know that about recruiting. In home service space or everywhere in general?
I mean, like, everywhere in general that's hiring technician type of folks, right? Restaurants, food
Field
service.
techs, yeah.
Yep.
Because it also kind of launches the vacation season, like restaurants, hospitality, into vacation, summer.
Yep. And I think people don't like to switch jobs in December with the holidays coming up, because they want their stable paycheck. So, like, people that were thinking about switching jobs November and December, they're very unlikely to. And then it kind of becomes like a New Year's resolution thing, where the minute the year turns and they are, on their feet, there's like, I need to go find something new to do.
If you're willing to recruit through January, you could get some really great talent that your competitors wouldn't be recruiting for. So, because a lot of people do self-reflections, they make goals, they tend to job hop more, or there are some industries that lay off because they cut costs for budgeting. So if you could hire early, or recruit through the holidays, or through January, you could get some really good talent while your competitors are not recruiting.
Yep. Super cost effective.
I learned something. Go get some new team members, recruit in January.
It's just, and maybe you don't have a job for them like right at the beginning of February, but that's fine, right? Like, build the relationships, build your list. It's fine to be like, hey, I'm recruiting you now because I wanted to make sure I got in front of you, candidate, and we're going to go balls to the wall starting in March. So you might find a job between now and then, but you're going to be the first person I reach out to when we really start putting people in place. And they might have a job, but their job might suck. So they're going to come work for you. Like, people don't mind quitting jobs, right? If they go take a different job, so
that's a great topic. The Great Resignation is over, but not the amount of people, not the quit rate. So what COVID did is they conditioned people to be comfortable with quitting. So we will see the feeling of the Great Resignation continue, even though it's gone. People will still job hop because what has happened is they are now comfortable walking out of jobs.
That's interesting psychology as well.
Me and Dan could go on for days on this topic. We could just keep going.
Yeah. We could do a whole show on it.
Which goes back to why people that are like, nobody wants to work anymore. It's because they're leaving those jobs because nobody wants to work for you no more.
We're leaving the people that they don't want to work for.
Yeah.
The bad energy and vibration. So, well, thank you guys for hopping on with us today. Thank you, audience, for being on here with us today, talking a little bit about wins, year-end reflections, and setting yourself up for the year. I should have the date in front of me, but I don't. But stay tuned. We'll be doing these once a month until SalesBoost, talking about some topics, and have individual speakers on as well, leading up to all the greatness happening at SalesBoost exactly 3 months from today in Wilmington.
Oh, diggity.
Awesome.
Damn, I better like start buying flights and hotel, like get a hotel room and stuff, huh?
All those things.
Speaking of planning.
All right, everybody. Have a great holiday.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Hey, you
Bye,
guys.
thank y'all.
Happy New Year.
Later.